Marry my ex-girlfriend before Christmas, or I burn every cent on December 25th.
The judge asked, "Any objections to the will?" And my brother shot up like he'd been waiting his whole life. "Yes, Your Honor. My sister Kara Christmas is a 40-year-old unemployed cat lady who still puts up a Christmas tree in July. She's clearly incompetent." The whole courtroom, my cousins, my aunt, even the bailiff, laughed so hard the court reporter had to stop typing. I sat there in my 5-year-old coat while they flashed Rolexes and Louboutins, whispering, "Poor Kara, still waiting for Prince Charming at 40. Then the lawyer sliced open the envelope and read in a voice that cut glass, "To my granddaughter Kara Elizabeth Christmas, I leave my entire $487 million estate, on the condition she marries Dr. Noelle Harper, the woman this family ruined, before midnight on Christmas Day. If not, every penny, every painting, every house burns to the ground on December 25th. The laughter died like someone yanked the plug. My brother's mouth hung open. My aunt dropped her crocodile tears and her Chanel bag. And Noelle, tall, red-haired, gorgeous, furious Noelle, who I hadn't seen in 15 years, walked in wearing a black suit sharp enough to commit murder and looked straight at me with those green eyes that once broke my heart and said, "Hello, wife. Looks like we're getting married in 15 days. Try not to screw it up this time." The snow was coming down in sheets outside the courthouse when Noelle grabbed my wrist hard enough to bruise and dragged me into the marble hallway away from the vultures. "$487 million, she repeated, voice low and lethal. "Your grandmother just handed us the nuclear codes to blow up your entire family, and I'm not letting you waste it." I tried to pull free, but she only tightened her grip. 15 years ago she was the brilliant cardiologist resident my family decided was beneath us, because her parents cleaned houses for a living. They spread rumors she was after the Vanderbilt Roth money, got her fired from New York Presbyterian, blackballed her from every hospital in the tri-state, and when she still wouldn't leave me they paid some intern to plant drugs in her locker. She lost everything. I lost her because I was 25 and spineless and believed them when they said I had to choose. I chose wrong. Now she was back, taller than I remembered, smelling like winter pine and revenge, and the look she gave me could have frozen the Hudson. "You hate me," I said. "I do," she answered without hesitation. "But I hate them more. So here's the deal, Kara Christmas. We get married, we take every dime, and we make them watch us burn their world down prettier than any Christmas tree they ever lit. You in or you out?" My knees almost gave. Because the truth is I never stopped loving her, not for 1 second of the last 15 years. And the idea that the only way I get to touch her again is fake marrying her for $500 million felt like the cruelest gift Santa ever slid under the tree. I swallowed. "I'm in." She smirked, the same crooked half-smile that used to make my heart stop in med school libraries. "Good. Because your cousin Blake just texted me he's contesting the will and calling us both gold-digging dykes on page 6 tomorrow morning. We've got 14 days to plan the wedding of the century, ruin your family forever, and convince the state of New York this marriage is real enough to survive a dozen lawsuits." She leaned in until her lips almost brushed mine. "Try to keep up, sweetheart. It's going to be the best Christmas either of us ever had." And just like that, the girl they laughed out of the courtroom walked out holding the hand of the woman they tried to destroy, both of us smiling like we'd already won. Noelle Harper didn't come from money, she came from bleach and cracked hands. Her mother, Marisol, cleaned the Vanderbilt Roth estate in Greenwich every Tuesday and Thursday for 23 years. Her father, Jonah, was the night janitor at the same country club where my uncles played golf and called people like him, the help, to their faces. Noelle grew up in a one-bedroom apartment above a bodega in Port Chester, sharing a mattress with her little brother while her parents worked doubles so she could take the Metro North into the city for science competitions. No one thought a Latina girl from the wrong side of the tracks would win. He won them all. Valedictorian of Port Chester High. Full ride to Yale. Summa cum laude in biochemistry at 21. Then Columbia Med on another full scholarship because she tested in the 99.9th percentile and the dean said he'd never seen a brain like hers. She was 24 when she matched into cardiothoracic surgery at New York Presbyterian, the youngest woman ever accepted into their program. People started whispering she could be the first Latina Surgeon General one day. That's when she met me. I was the rich idiot doing a pointless art history master's, coasting on family connections, hanging around hospital fundraisers because grandmother dragged me. Noelle was on call 36 hours straight, still found time to fix my grandmother's pacemaker lead in the cath lab, and then stood in the hallway in blood-spattered scrubs explaining to me, like I was a human and not a trust fund, in exactly why my grandmother would live another decade because of what she'd just done. I fell so hard I forgot how to speak English for a solid minute. We were together 11 months. The happiest 11 months of my life. Then my family found out. First came the background check. They hired private investigators who twisted every scholarship, every late-night study grant, every dime her parents ever accepted from church funds into proof she was running a long con. They sent anonymous envelopes to the hospital board. Photos of her mom in a cleaning uniform, fake transcripts, forged tax returns showing income that never existed. When that didn't work fast enough, Uncle Richard pulled my cousin Blake, a third-year resident with a gambling problem and a prescription pad, aside and offered to wipe his debt if he'd solve the problem. Blake planted 30 oxycodone in Noelle's locker the night before her boards. Security found them. She was arrested in front of the entire surgical wing. The hospital suspended her pending investigation. The state medical board revoked her license before she could even hire a lawyer. Every residency program in the country got a letter. Do not touch Noelle Harper. She is radioactive. She fought for 18 months. Burned through every cent her parents had saved, plus legal aid, plus GoFundMe that barely cracked 20 grand. My grandmother offered to pay for the lawyers. My father threatened to cut grandmother out of the will if she did. I sat in the back of courtrooms in sunglasses like a coward and watched the woman I loved get dismantled piece by piece. The day the judge threw out her final appeal, Noelle looked straight at me across the courtroom and said loud enough for the whole room, "I hope one day someone you love gets treated exactly like this, Kara. Then you'll understand." Then she walked out and disappeared. I thought she'd died. For years. No social media, no forwarding address, nothing. Turns out she'd gone north. She finished the last 2 years of medical school in France under her mother's maiden name because the American scandal hadn't crossed the Atlantic yet. Redid her residency in Paris at the Hôpital Petit-Salpêtrière. Became one of the top minimally invasive mitral valve specialists in Europe by 35. Bought a practice in Montreal, got her Canadian citizenship, and quietly made herself a multimillionaire fixing the hearts of NHL players and Quebecois billionaires who could pay cash. She never dated anyone longer than 3 months. She kept her hair fire engine red like a warning flag. She learned to speak French with an accent that could cut ice and English with the kind of razor precision that made men twice her size apologize for breathing too loud. And every December she wired an anonymous donation, exactly the amount of her old student loans plus interest, to a scholarship fund for first-generation medical students from immigrant families. The fund is called the Marisol Harper Foundation. She never put her own name on it. She told me all this in the back of a black Suburban the day we left the courthouse, snow piling on the windows while the driver pretended not to listen. "I became everything they said I could never be," she said, staring out at the blizzard. "Without a single dollar of your family's money. Without you. And I swore if I ever got the chance to make them choke on every lie they told about me, I would take it." Then she turned those green eyes on me, colder and sharper than I remembered, but still underneath the same eyes that used to look at me like I was the only light in the room. "Your grandmother kept tabs on me the whole time," she whispered. "She sent me a letter every year on my birthday. Never asked for forgiveness. Just said, 'When you're ready, come home and finish it.'" I thought she was senile. She laughed, bitter and beautiful. Turns out the old woman just had better aim than all of us. Then she reached over and laced her fingers through mine. Tight, possessive 15 years of rage and grief and something neither of us had dared name yet crackling between our palms like live wire. "They laughed at you in that courtroom, Kara. They laughed at me for 15 years. Now it's our turn." She squeezed once. "Let's go give them a Christmas they'll never forget."